Hey everybody, it's TF Nut here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends series Retro Wave Spider-Man figure from the Spider-Man Retro series. A lot of it being based on retro Spider-Man figures, particularly stuff from the 90s, which I never collected any of that. I was too young to even look for any of that. But a lot of people, especially fans of the 90s stuff, are really gonna like this series. And if you need new Spider-Man figures, definitely this wave is gonna be something that you're gonna want to pick up. I have 2 figures that haven't come in yet from pre-orders, and I found 4, including this one, that I was gonna pre-order, on Amazon. But I actually found a good amount of them out looking around at some of my local stores. The only 2 I haven't found, which I still have pre-ordered, is Green Goblin and Gwen Stacy. So, yeah, those will eventually come in soon. But for now, I have a good number of figures, especially from this wave here, to be reviewing. So, we're going to take a look at this figure. I don't have an extra Spider-Man in the packaging though, and I already took them out, which killed me a little bit inside because keeping them in the packaging, they're not repackageable. It's on that classic card style, if you guys are familiar with that. But I couldn't help it. I had to take this out of the packaging. I will give you a look at what he would look like, or really just the packaging itself. I don't really feel like packing it on in there. And you guys have probably seen the packaging by now. This guy's been out for a while. I just wanted to go ahead and make a review of him. So let's go ahead and take a look at that packaging really quick, and then we'll take a look at the figure. So as you can see, this figure was on this classic card style right here. Lots of great designs going on. I really like the city backdrop that we have there. The really nice image of Spider-Man right there. We have a little bit of some writing there in different languages saying superposable action. And it's really cool to see a really classic Marvel Comics logo right there. And that 90s cartoon Spider-Man logo. That's pretty cool. This figure is pretty much intended for customers 4 and up, as you can see there. If you look here, we do have a bio, which we all know about Spider-Man. These bios can be changed with the wording at least different times depending on the Marvel Legends Spider-Man, as you can see there. And then with this, we have some more cool designs of that 90s logo, as well as a nice image of Spider-Man that was on the front. Shows you some alternate pieces that you can use for Spider-Man that he comes with. And then here are the remaining figures in the wave, which I have these in hand right now. Just need to get these 2 eventually. So I really do like this figure a lot. Is it the best 6-inch Spider-Man we've ever gotten? I can't be the one to say, because I don't own any of the SH Figure Arts, Mayfex, or the Mezco one. I used to have the Mezco one, don't anymore. What I can tell you is that I really like this figure. I do think it's a little bit better than the previous Spider-Man that we have right here, which I'll try to do a little bit of a comparison of at the end if I have any time. There are some things that I don't like about this figure, but I don't hate the figure for it. Overall, I think it's a very good figure, and it's definitely worth the $20 you're going to pay for him. Hopefully, you're going to pay for him. So yeah, first off, what I do like is this head sculpt. Both head sculpts that he comes with, which comes with another one right here, has smaller eyes, are really good. While I like big-eyed Spider-Man as much as the next one, I also like when the eyes are a little bit smaller as well, because it kind of gives them a classic look if you wanted that. And this head here on the Pizza Spidey is somewhat compatible. I'll show that off later. But yeah, one thing I don't like is the back of the neck. They have this system here where it's no longer a hinge, at least for this body. It's basically a ball peg, and they have a cut in the back here. They really should have just made this a ball hinge. I mean, you don't get that much expression right here where you can tilt, you can do all this stuff, but you lift the head up like that and it looks rather ugly, honestly. You push the head down a little bit and it's not that bad anymore, but you want to get that head all the way up there. Look, that's like a couple centimeters, and look how much a couple centimeters does with this figure. Also, the peg on here feels sensitive. When you're removing the head and you want to put on other heads, it just feels like it's gonna break to me, and it's not the greatest system. I just kind of wish they stuck with the ball hinge, where there's a hinge here. It's somewhat on a ball joint, not really a ball joint, but You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it plenty of times with Marvel Legends figures. They should have just honestly stuck it with this guy. What I do like is the rest of the body. At first, I didn't think I was going to like this body mold. I thought it was going to be too muscular. But it looks fine on him. And even though it doesn't match the skinniness of the Peter Parker figure, Spider-Man should have a little bit of bulk to him. He can be a pretty bulky dude sometimes. And I don't think it's terribly done here. I do like a lot of the muscles going on. I want to say the torso is pretty much new. The arms might be reused, but I can't be certain. You can see the back muscles there and that nice spider that's printed there. They also have a nice small spider that's printed on here. And the line work on this guy is pretty clean. A couple parts where it's not, like around the head there. You can see a little bit of red bleeding through. I think around the chest it could be a little wonky, but overall it's not too bad. The arms have some pretty nice musculature to them. I really like how the ribs came out and how the abs came out as well. One thing I also don't like is the peg system here. I do wish they got around to doing the pinless technology for this guy. They're doing that now with some of their figures. Or at least painting these pegs blue, because the red here bleeding through the blue is very distracting. At least for me. If you have shots where it's like this, of course it's not going to be distracting. But when you're going to have it open like that, yeah, it's hard to not notice that. Another thing is I'm not the biggest fan of this waist system. It's not horrible, and it gets the job done, but I do wish that they kind of did, at least thought about doing what they did with the Snake Eyes. Now I know that when it comes to these toy lines, it's not the same people running them every single time, but I do wish that they kind of had some way of thinking, hey, let's just do basically what Snake Eyes did. Let's have the ball joint here. So that way you can swivel, you can hinge forward, and you can have an actual hinge too here. So you get a really nice range of motion forward and back, and the side to side would be fine. But now, because the ball joint is up here, that side to side really breaks up the red. It's very distracting. So it's not the greatest, I think. It could have been done better, but I don't think it's horrible either. The legs, I think, have been reused either from maybe any figure that has a new Deadpool mold on it, or basic Spider-Man 2099, the newer one, that body mold, or Spider UK mold. I can't tell. What I do know is I think we've seen these legs before. And the boots have some nice webs as well. They're printed pretty nicely. And the legs have some nice muscles too. He does have this drop down system similar to an SH Figure Arts. It's not the greatest like SH Figure Arts, but it's there. It's pretty cool. And the G.I. Joe figures now, they also use that. Articulation wise, it's pretty good. With some issues, with the sculpt being broken, and this as well. But the head goes up, down. This ball peg allows for tilt. Of course, it can rotate no problem. We also have butterfly joints, arms that can go in and out, and the shoulders can go all the way around. You have that bicep swivel. We also have double jointed elbows. We have a swivel at the wrist here, as well as a hinge at the wrist. We have this ball jointed waist that can go all the way around, forward, back, side to side. Ab crunch, legs can drop down like this, go forward, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, calf swivel, as well as bend at the foot and ankle rotation. So pretty good articulation. So you're going to see a couple shots of some of the accessories I've gotten over the years from Spider-Man figures with this guy, but first I wanted to show off the accessories that he comes with, which is that alternate head with the smaller eyes and the flipping hands, which actually comes packaged with the flipping hands on, but I had them on. I just wanted to show off the fist during the review in the beginning. I think he looks really great with these accessories, and I like that alternate head. I do wish that he came with open palmed hands like a previous Spider-Man figures, but I do have the Toys R Us exclusive Peter Parker and Mary Jane 2-pack hands that came with open hands. I had to cut down the peg on the wrist just a little bit because they're a little too much plastic, but they actually fit on him pretty well, and I think the reds actually from the hands match up with the rest of the figure pretty well. So these, if you have those hands and you don't want to use them for any other figure, I would go ahead and use them for this. I'm really glad I was going to use those hands for my PS4 Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure and paint them white, so he had open palm hands, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm just going to use those hands, you know, the open palm hands, for this guy here. And now I'm just going to go ahead and show you what he looks like with alternate heads from different Spider-Man figures we've gotten throughout the years. I think the best alternate head is probably going to be that Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack Peter Parker head on this guy. It looks really good. The rest of them that you're going to see I don't think are as good. We have the Pizza Spidey one that I actually put on there, and the reds don't match and all that. Actually, some of the Peter Parker heads from the new Peter Parker figure don't really look like they fit on this figure, and that's, I guess it's a bummer, but also I don't really like the heads that come with that figure anyway. But overall, out of the ones that I'm showing you, the best alternate head to use for this new Spider-Man that this guy doesn't come with is probably that Peter Parker head if you have one. You can maybe find a head cast on eBay, and if an original one, if there are any more out there, I'm sure you can find them if you look up Peter Parker head on eBay. So here's the retro Spider-Man in the center with some size comparisons and quick comparisons with what I think are some of the better Marvel Legends Spider-Mans we've ever had, which on the right is what we call the Pizza Spidey from 2015, and on the left is the Marvel Legends PS4 Spider-Man, which was a GameStop exclusive, and that's using that Spider-Man 2099 body mold that we've gotten a couple times. And I think that all three of these look great with each other. I think the one, if I would have to put one on a display, it would probably be the center one, which is the new retro one. I honestly wouldn't have mind if the retro one was on that Spider-Man PS4 body. I do think it's been a little reused, and there's also parts where the sculpt can look kind of broken, especially when you twist the waist. It's not the worst thing in the world, but if you own any figure on that body, you can see that the waist can get kind of broken. And with that paint there, it can get kind of messy when it comes to posing around. I don't think it's as messy, of course, as the new one, where even though the chest joint that has the ball joint there, it keeps the sculpt intact. The paint, it doesn't really look all that great, of course, when you're moving it around. I do think the new one is an improvement over the Pizza Spider-Man. I just feel like that figure's a little too thin in some areas, and overall the proportions aren't that great, and joints are kind of stiff on mine in particular, but other figures I've owned on that body mold have also just been kind of stiff, especially in the ankles. I've almost never had a figure on that body mold that's been able to just stand up straight without wobbling over because the feet are uneven, even no matter how much I try, because that's how stiff the joints are. And to me, that body mold just isn't really the greatest, but it's not horrible either. I still really like the old Spider-Man figures, but this one here is really well done, the new one in the center. And finally, here are some other Marvel Legends for size comparisons. We have the Scarlet Spider figure from the Rhino series and the Toys R Us exclusive Mary Jane. We also have the 80th anniversary Captain America and the Game Reverse Avengers video game Iron Man, which is an awesome figure I'll probably try to review soon. We have the older Green Goblin, I believe from the Sandman Build-A-Figure wave, and then we have the newer Vulture figure, and finally we have Marvel Legends Stan Lee, and a figure I think took a lot of inspiration when it comes to articulation and all that, is the Beast figure that came out last year, because if you look, they do have pretty similar articulation. I do think Beast is done a little bit better though. So that's pretty much it for this review. This figure is really awesome. Again, I can't tell you if it's the best 6-inch Spider-Man. It probably isn't based on what else there is out there. What I can say is it's a pretty darn good Spider-Man figure overall, and a very good Marvel Legends figure. A few problems when it comes to mainly just paint not really matching when you use any of the articulation. I'm not the biggest fan of the head articulation as well as the peg that I'm using for the hand. A couple nitpicks when it comes to a little bit of the paint, and also those arm pegs aren't great. But for the most part, a lot of solid things about this figure, and it's really, really awesome. I do think a lot of Spider-Man fans and just Marvel Legends collectors do need to get this figure and have it in their collection. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is my first review in a very long time, so any support or comments really would be appreciated. Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.